So now, before you get your panties in a bunch over this episode, let me remind you your bike brand is not your wife. You don't need to defend its honor every time somebody talks any shit about it. But if you insist, well, congratulations, you're officially in a toxic relationship with a bike brand. Welcome back to Tripping Throttle Thoughts, the only podcast where we are going to talk about motorcycles without any of the sponsorship goggles. Today, we are talking about something every biker or motorcyclist has ever seen, been part of, or rage quit a WhatsApp group over: motorcycle brand wars. You know the drill: Royal Enfield versus KTM, Bajaj versus TVS, Harley guys versus, well, anybody who likes to corner. And then we have the elitists as well. The guys who buy an expensive bike and suddenly start acting like biking was never meant for middle class. That theirs is the only machines worth riding in the whole world. So today let's break it down. Why bikers or motorcyclists act like cult members over brands, how companies fuel this stupidity for free marketing, uh, dumbest brand rivalries, and why none of them make sense. And if by the end of this episode you feel personally attacked, good, means I've done something right. This episode came over because I myself have been one of those people who defends brands or a particular motorcycle even when there are flaws in it. Biggest one I'd say is the Himalayan for me. Yeah. Now, before we get into this episode in full gusto, let's play a little game. Drop a comment right now. Tell me which motorcycle brand you think wins the brand wars. No overthinking, just type the name. Now, here's the deal. By the end of this episode, I guarantee your opinion might change. So, once you have watched it till the end and your opinion changes, you have to hit subscribe. So, let's first get into the psychology of brand loyalty. Why do motorcyclists get so tribal? Yeah. Why do motorcyclists fight over brands like it's a family name? Why do people feel personally attacked when you criticize their motorcycle or their brand? Tribalism, identity, and marketing brainwashing. Humans are hardwired to form tribes since time immemorial. Belonging to a group meant survival back then. But over thousands of years, this tribal instinct has evolved. But it never disappeared. Now, instead of fighting over which kingdom is superior, people fight over which brand or which motorcycle brand is better in our case. It's why Royal Enfield guys look down on KTM hooligans. It's why sport bike riders laugh at Harleys. We essentially all want to be part of a group, a collective. And once we do, we feel the need to defend it, even when they are wrong. This drives society as a whole, always. Now, the second part of it is identity. That the motorcycle you bought or the brand you bought into is your personality. This should not be the case, but for a lot of people, a motorcycle isn't just a machine, it's their whole personality. For example, you buy a Royal Enfield, you're a rugged traveler. You buy a KTM, you're a speed junkie. You own a Harley, you believe in freedom. Superbike rider, you have to flex on Instagram. Now, we are not going to talk about the demographics of riders like adventure riders or cruisers or sport bikes. These are just the categories that normally don't get along with each other. Brand wars. Yeah? People don't just buy a bike, they buy an image. And once their identity is linked to that brand, they take any and all criticism personally. I've done it myself, and that's what inspired the thought of to get this episode rolling. Cognitive biases is also there. How the brain tricks you. Psychologists have studied why people defend their choices, even when faced with facts against their decision. There are three main reasons for that. First is confirmation bias. Once someone believes that their bike is the best, they will only look for information that supports it. They ignore any flaws. And on top of that, our social media algorithms don't help. They just add on to it. You know how Instagram algorithm or the social media algorithm works, right? They will show you more and more of what you like to watch to ensure that you spend more time on it. So they are just adding on to this confirmation bias that's already part of our psychology. Second is sunk cost fallacy. If someone has spent a good amount of money, for example, say 3.5 lakhs, for most people that is a good amount of money you spend on the bike and then accessories for that bike. So it all goes a lot. The brain, once they've spent this much of money, their brain doesn't want to accept any flaws. Instead of admitting their issues, they defend them even harder. Third one is social proof. People assume that if a bike is popular, it has to be good. That's why Royal Enfield dominates. Not necessarily because it's better, but because it's everywhere. Royal Enfield, I hate to say it. I should not be hating to say it. But yeah, I hate to say it. Or maybe I should not be. It's a paradox that goes on and on. But yeah, I think Himalayan 450 is one of the best bikes they have made. Before that, all their bikes, there's nothing special in them. I don't feel the need to, other than maybe a classy look or a vintage feel. I don't feel the need to look at a Royal Enfield and go, wow, that's nice. Continental GT is another good one. Other than that, there's nothing special that they're bringing to the table other than a cheap motorcycle that they have built a tribe around years ago with their good marketing, I'd say, really good marketing. Now we are getting to the other part of it. That's how the conversation continues, actually. How brands use psychology against you. Brands understand that these psychological tricks better than we do. And they use them to make you fight for them for free. Ever noticed how brands market their bikes? They don't say this is just a machine with an engine, right? Instead, they say things like made like a gun. This isn't just a bike, it's a weapon, suddenly. It carries, how do I say this? The words carries weight owning that bike. Ready to race, KTM. You're not just a rider, you're a racer suddenly. Live to ride, Harley. Your whole lifestyle depends on this bike suddenly. These taglines create identity-based loyalty. Once you believe your bike represents who you are, you will defend it at all costs, no matter what that bike brings to the table. Example, remember the Bajaj elephant ad? They thought it was good marketing to show the shortcomings of a Royal Enfield and show how Bajaj is better. But they underestimated how emotionally attached Royal Enfield riders were at that time, and lots. Even if they were not riding a Royal Enfield, people were mad, or their dream bike, and even now, was a Bolt. The backlash was so bad, Bajaj actually lost sales. That's how strong brand identity is. Let's get into some of the biggest bike or brand rivalries and why they exist. Yeah, brand wars in India are not just about motorcycles; they're about ideologies. Each of these rivals come down to what people value in a bike: performance, history, reliability, or cost. Let's break it down a little bit. Royal Enfield versus KTM, or character versus performance. This is the classic heritage versus modern performance debate. Royal Enfield, founded in 1893. RE is one of the oldest motorcycle brands in the world. Triumph recently made 1 million units a couple of years. I don't exactly know, but yeah, Triumph has been there for similar time frame, but they've recently made the 1 millionth unit. On the other hand, Royal Enfield may be making it every couple of months or so. It was originally it was originally a military motorcycle built for rugged use. The strengths were simple engineering, so that there's no complications in it, low in torque, comfortable long distance riding, and a massive aftermarket customization scene that still carries on. Weaknesses: historically known for vibration, low power, and questionable reliability. Engineering was simple so that everybody can work on the bike whenever needed. Breakdowns were not an issue. But the lack of reliability really kicked them in the butt. And the Himalayan 411 is famous for it. Even recently we got a reel about Himalayan 411 chassis breaking down, right? KTM, on the other hand, a relatively newer brand, but with a hardcore racing background. Known for high revving, lightweight performance machines tuned for aggressive riding. Strengths: best power to ratio on the planet. Sharp handling, loaded with technology. Weaknesses: high maintenance cost, stiff suspension, and engines that run hot. And even they are unreliable. KTM, especially the bigger bikes, globally they're highly known for fuel pumps going poof, or other major issues cropping up at specific times when your bike warranty that entails you or entitles you to a free replacement void. Now, why this rivalry exists? RE riders believe in character, the feel, the legacy, the emotional connect, the classic feel of it. KTM riders believe in pure performance, speed, handling, modern technology. But these bikes serve different purposes. There's no need for these two brands or consumer of these brands to fight with each other, is there? RE are meant for relaxed touring, KTM are built for aggressive riding. Comparing them makes no sense, essentially. It's like comparing a vintage muscle car with a modern sports bike. Why? Why are you defending your choice? Someone bought a Continental GT, they're happy with it. Why do you have to go and shit on their post by saying KTMs are better? Why do you need to prove your choice better? Remember those 3 points? That's where it comes from. Who wins? Neither. It depends on what kind of rider you are at the end of the day. Right? If you like more peppy and aggressive riding, go for KTM. If you like a more relaxed touring, go for a Royal Enfield. Yeah. The second one, Bajaj versus TVS. Now, this is not out there in social media as much as KTM versus Royal Enfield, because KTM versus Royal Enfield, I guess, is the most famous one that's been going on for decades now. But yeah, Bajaj and TVS have dominated the affordable performance segment in India for decades. But while their fan bases fight online sometimes, the reality is that these brands are more similar than different. Bajaj launched the Pulsar first in 2001, revolutionizing the performance commuter segment. Owns a significant stake in KTM and Triumph, influencing Bajaj's newer performance models. Known for raw power, but their bikes have had quality control issues and still have it. TVS, on the other hand, it's the first Indian brand to go into serious racing with TVS Racing, which reflects in the Apache series. Partnered with BMW, they develop premium bikes, proving they can engage globally competitive motorcycles. And they're also known for smoother refinement, racing DNA, and reliability. Now, why this rivalry exists? Bajaj guys are like, we make Pulsar, we make Domina, we make everything. TVS guys, we have actual racing DNA, not just marketing hype. Reality, these companies literally most probably sharing technologies with other brands. Bajaj works with KTM and Triumph, TVS works with BMW. Who wins? Again, neither. Both brands make good bikes. It just depends on what you prefer. Raw power or precision engineering. Bajaj versus TVS. Now this one is my favorite. Yeah, this last one is my favorite because I've seen people switch from one side to the other the moment they got a bigger bike. You guessed it right. It's the superbikers versus us commuter peasants. It doesn't even have a proper rivalry. It's elitism at its best. Superbike owners ride machines that cost more than most people's cars and in some cases flats and houses. They have insane power, but they barely get to use it on Indian roads. And they're often seen riding at 40 kilometers per hour on Indian traffic and getting hot and frustrated. Never really able to, or never even actually spending that time or money into developing those skills rather than to use the bike to its full potential. Somebody who has bought a bike of 35 lakhs, they can, I think most of them can easily spend some amount of money, a fraction of that money for a couple of track days in either Budh International Circuit or MMRT in Chennai. Why don't they? They don't want to. They have the bike, that's enough. The status is automatically commuter bike riders, people like us. We ride for daily practicality, fuel efficiency, cost, and some fun as well, obviously. We can weave through traffic faster than any other superbike, and we spend way less time and money in the service centers. Now, why this rivalry exists? Motorcyclists, people apart from motorcyclists believe that sometimes bigger bikes is equal to better riders, but that's not the case at all. We have seen ample examples of it. We have seen ourselves when we go for an off-road trail, right? We go for a nice off-road trail and we're all on our 500, 600, 400cc bikes. We're huffing and puffing by the end of the trail, and suddenly, and this has happened a lot in Pune, suddenly a proper uncle on his Splendor with anti-setting on the back pillion, white kurta, chappal, no helmet, just happily ting 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 going by. Why? They have those skills because they have done that for so long. Because they have ridden that bike on that terrain for so long, they don't need to, spend special skills, spend money or time on special skills. They've automatically developed it. Social status also plays a huge role in India. A superbike means money, not necessarily skill. Again, I can't stress on this enough. Commuter riders see superbike owners as impractical show-offs. Even I do so. But given the chance of buying a 1200cc bike or a Desert X or a nice expensive adventure bike when I have a lot of money, will I do it? Yes, absolutely. But do I find it a practical need to buy it? No. Where am I gonna go with that? Will I ever be able to use its full potential? I have a Himalayan 450 and I have used only maybe 80% or 70% of its full potential, be it on off-roads or roads. A 1200cc bike that can go 300 kilometers an hour. Will I ever be able to use its full potential? No. Should I buy it for a status symbol or just because I want to? Someday, yeah. Maybe. The reality, a guy on an R15 can still filter through traffic faster than a guy on a ZX-10R. A splendor rider in the Himalayas or any ghats may have, any off-road trail may have better survival skills than a superbike owner like a Desert X or a Tiger or an Africa Twin. And skills matter more than engine size. I've seen ample number of superbike owners, especially big ADV bikes, because I'm in those circles of adventure bikes, right? So I've mostly seen ADV bikes. People buying a 30 lakh bike, decking it up with accessories, and going all the way just to the nearest highway chai point on a Sunday and coming back. That's all they do. I'd rather be a motorcyclist who rides X-Pulse, which is a fraction of the cost of that big motorcycle, and use it to have actual fun rather than just be a show-off. Who wins? Neither. Different bike for different purposes, but in the real-world usability, us commuters will always have the edge. Single bike garage, that's what we call it. And most of us middle class people are looking for a single bike garage. A single bike that will take you touring, that will take you off-roading if you want to, that will take you to the nearest market, or early morning when you want to go and have some, buy some vegetables. Now the real question is, which brand should you buy into? At the end of the day, all this brand loyalty is pointless, actually. Because no matter how much you defend your bike or brand, the only person who truly cares about is you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Bro, people do notice big bikes in India. And yeah, they do, but why? In India, motorcycles are not just about performance, they're a status symbol as well. If you pull out a big bike from your garage, people will look, but they are not respecting you as a rider, are they? Or they're just fascinated by the price tag most of the time. Superbikers get attention because they're rare, expensive and loud. People assume that they must be rich. And the first question they'll ask is, kitna deti hai? In contrast, commuter bikes are seen as just transport. No one will stop and admire a Splendor, even if the guy riding it has better skills than half the superbike owners in this country. But real respect on the road isn't about price, it's about how you ride. So focus on your riding rather than brand loyalty. A skilled rider on a 200cc bike, taking smooth lines, handling corners well, commands more respect than someone revving a superbike blatantly. Any day. A confident rider navigating chaos without unnecessary aggression earns nods from fellow riders, always. At the end of the day, riding is just about skill, not your engine size. Size doesn't matter. So instead of fighting over brands like a die-hard fanboy, how about just go ahead riding? Because when you're deep into a ride, carving through twisty roads, enjoying the wind, locked in the moment, does it really matter what logo is on your fuel tank? No. And if it does, congratulations, you have become one of the brand marketer's dream customer. Now, if you still feel personally attacked because you support a particular brand or a bike, here's some free therapy. Go outside, start your bike and actually ride it instead of commenting on people's reels and posts that your bike is better or your brand is better. Because at the end of the day, a bike is just a tool. It's not your religion, it's not your family, and it sure as hell isn't worth fighting strangers on the internet over. If you're still mad, just remember your bike brand doesn't even know you exist. Now, if you commented at the start of the episode, you have seen that no brand needs to be roasted. Every brand has the pros and cons that balance out when making a choice based on your needs. Cheers. Now you gotta hit subscribe. No cheating, yeah? So, this is Tripping Throttle Thoughts. Ride hard, ride safe, stay curious, and most importantly, keep those throttle thoughts tripping. And yes, please don't stop acting like your bike brand is your sugar daddy.